Today I fucked up by becoming a suspected pedophile. This today I fucked up actually happened yesterday. Throwaway account. It was a sunny day in an otherwise crappy Scandinavian summer. So me and my 5-year-old son went out to play at one of the city playgrounds. This particular playground has a really cool artificial river for kids to play in. Needless to say, the place was packed. Since my boy was having such a good time playing with his friends, now was a good moment to make my weekly FaceTime call with my mom. Hence my error. Fast forward 5 minutes. I am still having a nice chat, laying down with the sun in my face. Life is good. When suddenly the sun literally got blocked by 4 or 5 moms and dads gathering around me, looking absolutely pissed. One of the dads says, "We called the police." I had no clue what they were talking about, let alone that they meant that they called the police on me. I naively asked, "Oh, what happened?" Replied by, "You are filming our kids without our permission." While still on FaceTime with my mom, I look over my phone to see what I am actually pointing my camera towards. I see a bunch of butt-naked kids running around, while my own kid wandered off to some other part of the playground. I desperately tried to explain what is going on, and that I wasn't just filming random kids. But I was so stressed that I couldn't find the words. I am living in this country as a foreigner, and don't fully master the language yet. Honestly, if I were these guys I would be darn skeptical of the situation myself. By now the crowd grew to a mob of 15 people or so. I got up to get my kid, when one of the dads says that I cannot leave without leaving my phone. "Hell no," I said. That sobered me up quite fast, and I explained in clearer words what is going on. The situation cooled down and most parents walked away. But there were 2 couples that would have none of it, and demanded me to stay until the police arrived. Eventually the police showed up, and fortunately they were really chill about it, almost laughing when I explained what was going on. They asked me to show my camera roll, which of course showed nothing improper. Also I showed my call history, which indicated that indeed I had quite a long phone call with my mom on FaceTime. The angry couples apologized, which I appreciated. Me and my son gathered our stuff and immediately went home. On the way home my son asked why everyone wanted to see my pictures. Oh boy, I can't wait for him to be old enough for me to tell him this story. Too long didn't read. Went to the water playground with my kids, called my mom on FaceTime, and was mistaken by parents for filming their naked kids. Edit 1. Wow, this exploded. Interesting to see the different perspectives. I guess there are some cultural differences between the nations, which is fine. I don't judge culture. Edit 2, regarding social distancing, Scandinavia is not in lockdown, and, practically, never has been. We have a relatively obedient population where we follow government recommendations without too much questioning. So far we were spared the catastrophe, meaning that our kids can still play in the park. Who knows that the future holds in store. Stay safe everyone. When my nephew was 6, he really wanted to walk to the bus stop and wait for the bus like a big kid. They live at the end of a cul-de-sac and the bus stop is at the beginning of the street, at the corner of the main road, about a 5-minute walk. The main road is a busy road, especially in the morning. This was a big deal to my nephew because all the other kids were a little older, so he was the only one with a parent there. So my brother-in-law would secretly follow him and stay out of sight behind fences/trees until my nephew got on the bus. Then my brother-in-law, who is a construction worker, would immediately go to work. In retrospect, I'm more surprised that it took almost 2 weeks before someone called the cops about the creepy guy in dirty clothes spying on children at the bus stop. I'm a single dad, and this one woman called the cops when my little girl was playing on the bars at a park. Ironically, I think out of displaced shame. She had to run to the bathroom and her kid fell off the jungle gym. I looked over to see if he was okay. Didn't touch him, just checked. It was enough for a full-on harangue and the cops getting called. I ended up leaving with my daughter as there weren't any other witnesses. Anyway, it was one of our local parks and she used to stare at me all the time and watch me. Cops kept getting called. We moved to a different park to avoid the harassment. I hate people like that. I get dirty looks all the time when I'm out with my son. I don't know why women think it's so strange for a dad to take their kids to the park. This reminds me of something my dad did once. My wife and I had recently moved into our first apartment together, but there are a bunch of kids on the estate who weren't particularly well trained. These kids decided to throw shit in our house, stones, rubbish, balls, you name it, through the open door, the letterbox, etc. This was stressing my wife out, so I called my dad to see what he suggested. Of course we should confront their parents, right? But we had no idea who these kids belonged to, let alone which doors to knock on. So my dad, the super clever bastard he is, decides to sit in the doorway with his camera phone out. I told him I didn't think it was a good idea, but he persisted. His logic was sound: pretend to use the phone as security footage in order to deter the kids from trying anything. Unfortunately, those little shits ran back to their parents saying some old guy was outside taking videos of them. He got in deep shit with the entire neighborhood, but at least we now knew who was responsible for the little shits. We moved out less than a year later. Edit, because a few people have been commenting about evidence, there wasn't any. My dad wasn't actually filming the kids. He was just pretending to do so as a deterrent. Even if he had filmed, it would have just been video evidence of kids hanging around in the street giving him stink eye because he was an old man filming kids. There was no evidence of any foul play to confront the kids' parents with, or to take to the police. Man, that must have been surreal. I am so glad the police were reasonable and didn't jump to conclusions. I have a 3-year-old and he is like a cat in that he is always hugging your legs. This is something he does with all of us at home. My wife makes jokes about it all the time. All he needs is to purr and we can buy him whiskers. I was playing with him outside one day, and he comes and hugs my leg. Of course his head is in my crotch area, but I never thought about it. My little boy is hugging me, it's the sweetest thing ever. Here comes this asshole, and says you're enjoying that a little bit too much, aren't you? Of course I'm enjoying it. I looked at him and answered absolutely. They grow so quick, and once they grow they know it all and don't like to shower, I responded jokingly. He started walking towards me. He looked mad. Something triggered an alarm in my head and I moved my son behind me. He started calling me a pervert. He invaded my personal space and I pushed him back. When I finally understood what he was implying, I became enraged and nauseated. Someone called the police. When they arrived I was questioned. They were reasonable. It turns out the guy is an ultra-conservative Christian. He was telling the police that I was rubbing my son against my crotch. As he is saying this, my son does it again and hugs my leg, and the guy goes, "Look, he is doing it again." The officer looks at my son, looks at me, he goes, "Okay, enough. You have some serious issues, man. What you see and what we all see are two different things." At this point he starts talking about his faith, what the Bible says on temptation, etc., etc. The police leave. A few months later I find out the guy is a registered sexual offender, turned to religion, and was again arrested when he attempted to molest children at the congregation he attended. One time at the park with my 4 girls, 2 to 9, a little boy got stuck on part of the structure and asked me for help. He was gonna faceplant, so of course my parent instinct came in and I grabbed under his armpits and set him down on the ground. 2 seconds later this very crusty mom storms towards us and pulls him away, death glaring. My youngest is trying to grab my leg. I just pointed at her and was like, "I got kids." I'm not. NVM was kinda amusing but also really sad that actual pavs ruined harmless adult genuinely helping a kid stuff. He said his own mom wasn't paying attention. Today I fucked up by remembering a regular's order. Obligatory on mobile warning. I work at a popular coffee shop in Canada, and have been for the last 2 years. Most customers who come here a lot don't have to order, because we already know it. One guy who comes in orders something distinct, and was very nice to me when I first started. His order was the first time memorized. For example, he orders a large and a medium coffee, but sometimes would just get the large. He came in today for the first time since I started working again from quarantine. Told his order to the girl working the counter with me, listing the large and medium coffees, but he ended up just getting the large. Afterwards, my manager told me he wasn't getting the medium anymore because it was his wife's order and she had passed away. Too long, didn't read. I put in the coffee order for a regular that included his deceased wife's regular drink. We have had that happen at the grocery store I work at. This couple came in almost every day, and then one day the wife came in by herself. I asked her, "Where's your other half?" She replied he had a stroke and passed away last week. I did feel kind of bad for asking in an upbeat tone, but I didn't know. I used to work at a KFC in rural Arkansas, a few times a week. This old man came in with his wife and they both got the buffet and he would get her chicken and cobbler. After a while, I had only been there a couple months but apparently they had been coming in for years. It was just him. He sat and ate his food and got hers to go. He had gotten too ill to leave the nursing home. He stopped coming in for a couple weeks. It was the saddest thing when he didn't order a to-go buffet. Honestly, it may have made him a little sad, but at the same time it's nice that someone remembered his wife even in a small way. Thank you, this makes me feel a little bit better. No, I'm sure he was so grateful that you remembered. I used to work in a theater and there was an elderly lady in a wheelchair who attended a classical music concert with her son to help her, every week. One day in January it was just him. I looked around and asked, was his mother perhaps in the bathroom, would she be there soon, so I could help settle her? He looked very sad and replied that no, she wouldn't be joining him, as she had passed away. I apologized profusely, and that I didn't mean to cause him any upset. He said that on the contrary it brought her back to him in a small way, that I, a near stranger, had noticed she wasn't there. Attended every concert for the remainder of the season on his own and I said good evening when I was working. I just did this last week. I work at a coffee shop / bakery in New England. One of my regulars approached to order, and I happily recalled her cappuccino and her husband's latte. She sighed, and told me her husband passed away a few weeks ago. We ended up having a sweet exchange about how lovely he was and I bought her drink. Definitely not a fuck up. You showed compassion. Keep up the good work. Today I fucked up by introducing my partner to Reddit, and the gateway drug that is karma. So about a week ago or so, I introduced my partner to Reddit after using it for over 3 years and she finally decided to get on the karma train. Now I sold it as a platform like Instagram but for every interest you could think of. First few days went well of her just posting on comments and uploading things she likes. So far so good. Then about 2 days ago the story took a deadly turn. She discovered karma. She started trying to out-karma me, not a challenge at all. I only post about nerdy things, and has made it her one life goal. This manifested yesterday on a long car ride where I lost her to her photo reel of things to upload to get that bow. Today I fucked up upvote feeling. Then worse of all, this morning the true addiction became apparent. I was woken up to, oh my god, I already have 500 karma. Are you proud of me? I'm gonna beat you. Ooh you. So Redditors, I have lost my partner to all of you. Please take care of her, because I am no longer her priority in life. The karma is. Press F3. Doctor, introduced my partner to Reddit. I have now lost her to its depths and the appeal of karma. Edit. So we went and bought a house this afternoon. Went from 400 likes to 3K in the space of an hour or two. So thank you for all the awards. I will try and get back to the 103 notifications this evening. Additionally, for those who say about shallowness and karma, neither of us really care. It's more a couple competitiveness. Don't play her at Monopoly. So we had a good laugh. Thank you all. Today has been good. Edit 2, okay, so I cooked some dinner and it's at like 18k. Yeah, I think I won. Not that I was even trying to, just looking for a few sympathetic laughs. However, can people not downvote her? I know it's just fake internet points, but she is my partner in life, and now in Reddit. Let's all celebrate that you guys have boosted my ego way more than it ever needed to be boosted to. Had to order extra wide doors in the new house for my head to fit through. Edit 3, for all those saying it's a lame karma grab. Go wild. I have zero shits given about karma. All you need to do is find upcoming posts and hedge your bets with an easy comment. What I care more about is the kind people who gifted me, pointless yet still kind, internet points. I hope those of you who liked the post that has made you smile like some Reddit posts do for me. For those who didn't like it, I hope you found a post that made you smile. Easy fix. Just tell her it's common Reddit to edit your comments after every 25 upvotes thanking everyone for the karma. Edit, and /s indicates when you're being serious. our girlfriend. I hope for your sake she never learns about the possible karma from nudes. Edit, for my sake I hope she learns about the karma from nudes. I want this post to blow up just so that you get an additional lead of 5-6k karma. Edit, wow, Reddit fairy, listen to me. Got you beat. Introduced my ex to Game of War phone app. I work early and have to crash around 9. Ex stays up and chit-chats with some douchebag on the game till who knows for how long through the night. She dumps me for douchebag. Still really haven't recovered from that shit. It's been like 6 years. Dodged a bullet, king.